everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. How are we doing? It's a Wednesday in the middle of August. It's hot, but we're here as always to speak about Roma. We've got more transfer news. We've got something interesting coming up from Di Marzio, who has confirmed the interest in Loic Badè, defender from Seville. It's nothing concrete. It's at initial stages. Roma are interested in him. Roma have contacted Seville to understand, as always, the feasibility of the deal, to understand the price tag, and ultimately to also understand if, to try and get this deal unlocked, Roma can use some of their players to include in a swap deal, which I think is also very interesting. So we definitely have some updates on our defense today. I feel like all of us are focusing on the attack. All of us are focusing on that left winger. All of us are focusing on that right back. And right back is a defender, of course. But I think a lot of us forget that Roma's also interested in getting a new centre back. Now, again, we will argue here. It's not a priority. I'm here to agree with everybody who says that centre back is not a priority. But of course, as we've seen in many past seasons, and I always kind of touch on this concept because I think it's the concept that has costed us mediocrity in these past seasons. And this concept is squad depth. A team with squad depth, a team which has good squad depth is inevitably going to go better than a team without squad depth, especially if you want to get top four, want to go well in Europa League, and ultimately I think it's also fair and it's also time that Roma don't treat the Coppa Italia as if it's a garbage tournament. So, considering the fact that we will need to be playing at our best in 3 different competitions, then we need a good team. And to have a complete team, squad depth, rotations, I would also say that we need another centre-back. Now, of course, it's not the priority. I think right back and left winger are the key priorities right now. Then I'd also argue that a box-to-box CM, central midfielder is what we need. And then I think the last hit of the transfer session should be a defender. But of course, the transfer window is made of opportunities. So if there's an opportunity to end and to get Bade earlier than a left winger, then of course, Guy Sophie won't waste time and kind of opt in closing this. So I think these are the players which are missing. These are the pieces of the puzzle which are missing to this team. Are we going to get all of them? I'm not sure. From what I've seen in this transfer window, number 1, high investments. Number 2, backing the manager. Number 3, putting the manager's decisions at the center of the transfer window and the decision making. So, seeing the players that we've already bought, then I do expect the team and the signings to be complete. Of course, the league starts in 10 days, so we will not get 5 players, 4 players, 3 players, how many we need in 10 days. The transfer window doesn't close the day the league starts. The transfer window closes the 1st of September. So we will have time, to get the players we need. We are missing a few. We are incomplete. The more we add, the better it is. I always add on this. I'm going to read comments in a bit. I'm going to answer the questions that you have. So keep them coming in the live chat. Also, can I just say before we get into this video, don't forget to hit the like. If everybody in this stream can hit the like down below, it would massively support this community and channel. And also subscribe to the channel. I know people are now back going. We had that period during the Euros where people were like, get me out of Roma. I can feel it. We've got withdrawal symptoms right now. I can feel it amongst us. We miss Roma. And we want Roma to arrive. So if you're ready for it, if you want to smash it this season, do subscribe and let's buckle up for yet another season altogether. And like the video. Right, so Loic Badè. Gianluca Di Marzio has confirmed that Roma's interested in him. Gianluca Di Marzio has confirmed that Roma are actually interested in him and that Roma have understood that it's not going to be an easy deal because Seville are asking 20 million to let him go. And thus, Di Marzio has also said that Roma want to include some swap deals in this deal to throw down that price tag and maybe spend less money. Again, the word swap deal here kind of fears, I'm a bit afraid by it because I'm always scared that when Roma wants to do a swap deal, they intend to put Bove in it. And I hope I'm wrong, because there are a lot of players which, you know, there are a lot of players that we could include in a swap deal. It's not just Bove, which is the pivot of our swap deals. But I'm always afraid that Roma are considering putting Bove in some swap deals, and it's not going to be worth it. So if you do want to put a swap deal in this deal, then it should be a player who, if you sell, doesn't kind of bottle up your squad depth. You know, I'll give you an example. Let's say all of a sudden, this is not going to happen, this is an example. Let's say all of a sudden, we understand we can't get a right back. This is not going to happen, we are going to get a right back. It's just an example. Let's say that Roma have understood that there are no actual good opportunities on that right flank, and they're not going to buy anyone, and they're going to start the season with Cilic and Buba Sangaré. Then if that's the case, then of course you can't let, in a swap deal, Cilic go. Because if you let Cilic go, then you only have Sangaré, and you get Bade, who's a centre-back. So swap deals need to be smart. Swap deals, yes, players who you want out, players who you want to sell, but you need to try and put inside a swap deal, unless it's a 50-50 swap deal, so I'm giving you a centre-back, you give me a centre-back. But if it's not a 50-50 equal one, then you should try and include a player which doesn't fumble up your equilibrium. So if you do get a right back, add like Bellanova, and then have got Sangaré as a second, then of course you could put Cilic in the swap deal, because you've covered that position, if you see what I mean. So I'm always scared that we get this wrong. A player that could be inserted is Zalewski. Roma want to sell him, Roma want to give him out, and Zalewski can be used as a catalyst to a Balde deal. But speaking about the player, now look, again, centre-back shouldn't be the priority. What I want the centre-back to be is an Ibanez centre-back. I want the centre-back which is going to come, and this, this deal, this news, this rumour that Di Marzio's thrown out shows you that maybe, yes, it's not a priority, but Roma want to reinforce themselves by adding a centre-back as well. So, yeah, right now we have Mancini, Smalling, Ndika and Kumbula as natural centre-backs. Then, of course, you can always put Cristante there. But again, you tend to use natural players before actually, inverted players and all of that. So, yeah, he wouldn't be a bad name. But I do think 20 million is a lot. Now, again, I don't watch La Liga. The only games that I remember from him, I've watched a few games at the Olympics, and he's in the squad. Even though football at the Olympics is absolutely terrible. I was curiously watching how France used to play. And then the other game that I remember is Our Nightmare, that game, the Europa League final, where I actually remember that he was not good at all. He lost Dybala when Dybala scored that goal, and he was about to cost Seville the final. If I'm not wrong, he is the player who... Was there like a penalty for... Look, the way I remember nothing about that final. The more that final went by, I always worked on forgetting that final more. Was there like a penalty for us that then Taylor went to the VAR and kind of got away? Kind of a penalty which wasn't a penalty? Or was that on Seville? I can't remember, and I don't want to remember, frankly speaking. But from what I remember, from the few brinks of that game that I remember, Bade almost costed Seville the final. I don't think it's worth 20 million. I think, and kind of, I look at this scenario and I'm like, okay, we want a centre-back who won't be a starting centre-back, but we want a centre-back to add to our squad. Why on earth didn't we get Llorente? The Llorente deal is a mystery to me. Because, okay, his wages, clearing out his wages, but Llorente wasn't a top earner at this football club. And number two, out of all those loan lists, Llorente was probably the player who deserved to stay here more than anybody else. Llorente didn't bottle games from us. He had a few bad games, but overall, I only remember the positives from Llorente. So If we need a centre-back, then I'm perplexed by the decision of us not extending Llorente's loan and buying him permanently. But maybe that's not the profile Roma wanted. Roma wanted to go younger. Roma wanted to go fresher, which is understandable. 20 million is a lot. I mean, look, if you can get a left winger who's good, a box-to-box mid who's good, and a right-back who's good, and then add 20 million on a centre-back as well, I won't complain. But again, if I need to spend 20 million on Badè, then I would massively and obviously use that 20 million on Bellanova, if you see what I mean. I don't think he should be the player we need to spend on big if, if we want to add quality. Look, again, as I said before, it's not the position that we look at right now because we've got other priorities. But depending on the system we want to play, another centre-back can only do as handy. We need an Ibanez player. We need a young player, fast player, good at carrying the ball. If you remove the mistakes that Ibanez made at the derby, Ibanez was one hell of a good defender. Mourinho absolutely loved him. I would get Ibanez back. I was, me, I was kind of like, okay, sell Ibanez because I knew that with the Ibanez money, then we would have gotten a big striker up front. But looking at the scenario, Ibanez is a player that I would love to get back because he played well. The only game he played bad in a season was the derby. But Ibanez was a top-class defender in terms of profile as well, identity kit as well. He was young, he was fast, he was tall, he was big. Somebody like Ibanez is what we need to add. But, defender is important, especially because if you don't get another centre-back, then you're forced in keeping Kumbulla. And I will never forget that 7-1 Bodo Glimt game. I will never forget that game. To be more specific, I will never, ever, ever forget that live watch along. I mean, if you've been an OG subscriber and you've been here for a while, you will never forget that 7-1 Bodo Glimt live watch along. And at a certain point, I still remember what I said about Kumbulla in that game. He's slower than a pregnant elephant carrying a fridge on his back. And my opinion hasn't changed. I've watched his games at Sassuolo last season. Let's be real. Kumbulla costed Sassuolo relegation with those mistakes. Kumbulla's slow. Kumbulla's coordination is about as useful as my grandmother's. He's an absolutely terrible, useless defender. Let's be honest. De Rossi doesn't want him. Let's be honest. We don't want him. So, looking at it like this, we need another centre-back because otherwise we'll be sticking with Kumbulla for a season. And we need squad depth. Kumbulla is the opposite of squad depth in my opinion. He's just so bad. I like him. I've got nothing against him, but football isn't a thing for him. It should never have been. It shouldn't even have been a consideration for him. In friendly games, again, don't get fooled by these friendly games. We played against third division football. Don't get fooled by these friendly games. This is always the number one thing that I say. Don't get fooled by these friendly games. Because the opponents are weaker. I'll change my opinion if Kumbulla has a great game against Everton on Saturday. That's an opponent you should start looking against. But I can guarantee you that if Kumbulla starts against Everton, he's going to bottle something. He's just not good. So, of course, then, if you want to play with a 4-3-3, you need two pairs of defenders. 4-3-3 system, you need two pairs of defenders. Mancini, Smalling, Mancini, Ndika, Mancini, Ndika, Smalling, but then who's the fourth? I don't want it to be Kumbulla, so you need another centre-back for the system to work. If you want to play with three at the back, which is not what De Rossi wants to do, but there are going to be games where we are going to play with three at the back, then of course you need centre-backs. Because you start with all three. Let's say one of them get injured. You've got the same problem. Kumbulla is going to have to start. And we don't want that. So I think a centre-back is going to happen. I think we are going to get it. It's not the priority, but I think we're going to get it done. It's probably going to be one of those last-minute transfer hits. So is Chiesa. If Roma want Chiesa, Roma have made it clear. Okay, I want Chiesa, and for me to buy Chiesa, it's only going to be a deadline. It's going to be like Lukaku. Don't expect Chiesa signing for Roma if he does in the next one and a half weeks. Because Roma's not done. Roma's given time to him. He's still thinking about it. Then Roma gave up. They are only going to be interested in Chiesa again if at the end of the transfer window he has no team and Juventus need to sell him, so they'll accept the 10 million bid, And Chiesa himself will also accept an offer, which probably has lower wages than this. So I think Chiesa could happen, but if it happens last minute. It does not happen this week, it does not happen next week. Otherwise, we move on to something else. Younger, fresher. Galeno, Juventus want him, yes, but I would absolutely love him. Wesley up front would be good as well. So that's that. It's a good day when Karsdorp is on the verge of leaving. Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a bit. Let me go through some comments. Yeah, a lot of people say Badè is trash. I'm not in a position to say he's trash, but I'm definitely not in a position to say that he's worth 20 million. I'm so excited for the season. I think we had such an exciting transfer window. Yes, and it's, we can still get a few signings done, so it's not done. Shouldn't we focus more about a right back and a left winger and only then a centre back? We should bring a centre back on loan in January to help us with the squad depth in the end of the season. True, and I agree, it's not the priority, but I would much rather spend the money on a player and avoid starting Kumbulla than having to go through a season where if somebody gets injured in defence, Kumbulla needs to become a starting player. I ain't ready for that. I ain't ready for that. I ain't ready for Kumbulla scoring an own goal at the derby. So I agree. It's not gonna happen now. It's only gonna happen now if there's the opportunity to do it now. If there's a good opportunity, cheap player who not a lot of teams have scouted, but Roma have scouted and anticipated competition and isn't very expensive, but he's good, kind of successfully fulfills the criteria, then opportunity, I'm gonna get him so that I'm sorted. But only if there's an opportunity. I think Bellanova is very important. Last season, every time the other team had a good left wing, we were on the edge of our seats for 90 minutes. Yeah, right back is going to be the next signing. Left winger and right back are the next priorities. And of course, sales. We will have to sell some players. So, look, we will have to sell some players. That needs to happen. For right wing, who would you want, Wesley or Antonio Nusa? I think either would be great. I like the profile of a young left winger who has got a lot to prove. I like the idea of a young, talented, skillful left winger. So a lot of the names that we've been linked with, I like. I haven't really watched Nusa play. I haven't really watched Wesley play out of the left wingers that we've been linked with. I've seen Galeno play, and I can say he's a bowler. Juventus are leading the race, but Roma's observing the situation well to see if the deal collapses and then go in. Out of Wesley and Antonio Nusa, I'm a very big admirer of Wesley, even though I've never seen him play. I feel like when a lot of teams are interested in him, when somebody like Cafu advises him, then I think there's something behind him. Nusa, I need to do some research. I know who he is. He plays for Bruges, isn't it? Antonio Nusa. Doesn't he play for Bruges? Yeah, I know who he is, and it gets me excited because I like the idea of a young left wing, skillful, cutting in, but I'm not in a position to give a judgment on him as of now. Also, Llorente left and Smalling looks cooked. Therefore, I think a centre-back is also crucial for squad depth. I agree. And that's a good point. Smalling, we are counting out of our four defenders. But Smalling can easily get injured. So that leaves you with three. And then let's say another one gets injured, that leaves you with two. So, centre-back is important. It's not what we need right now, but we will need to get another one. I mean, we can start with Kumbulla. I can always say this, but then we can't complain if we lose games. Big. Squad depth is big. I always tend to repeat this because it's the number one problem that has costed us floating around mediocrity in these past seasons. It is the number one problem. Nathan says, in my opinion, we should keep Kumbulla. Look, I'm not trying to denigrate Kumbulla here, but I'm trying to be real. We've seen Kumbulla in season 1 with Mourinho, and we've seen Kumbulla in season 2 with Mourinho. He ain't good. Let's not lie to ourselves. He's a great lad. But football is not about, it's kind of like, I have a friend on FIFA, right? He does a football career, and he only, when you buy a football career, when we were younger, every single time we started a football career, he always bought players which looked real. You know how on Football FIFA career, some players look like the actual players because like their images and visuals are great, and other ones don't look at all like their players. I had this friend who every time he launched a FIFA career only used to buy big players and kind of real players, the players which looked real because it looked cooler. But that's kind of like it's full of great players on FIFA who don't have a real face. So this is kind of the same scenario. He's a great lad. A lot of football players out there are great lads, but they're also quite shit at football. You know, football is not about the way somebody looks or the way somebody acts. Football's about football ability. So again, this is not me trying to denigrate Kumbulla. All love to him. I wish him all the best. But as a football fan, I kind of want to step up the game. I've seen Kumbulla start in season 1 with Jose, and he was terrible. I've seen him start in season 2 with Jose, and he was as terrible. So let's step up the game. Or otherwise, we're always here debating ourselves, going, "Oh, why didn't I succeed this season? Because your second lines were shit." Simple. This is our year to lift the Europa League. See you in Bilbao. We need to just say screw it and make Torino a 20 million offer for Bellanova. Well, it could happen. Seeing the investments that we've made, it could happen. It definitely could happen. Simo, do you think having a lot of players who are left-footed in attack is good or a weakness? It's good because they can link well together, but it's bad because you don't have a lot of versatility up front. Left winger will need to be a right-footed. Well, that's kind of what a left winger is. But yeah, the left winger will be right-footed. Llorente was only 3 million to purchase, indeed. Right, Karsdorp. I mean, I woke up today, Karsdorp on the verge of joining Besiktas, and I'm like, oh, we love the Turkish league. We love the Turkish league because the Turkish league has no idea of the players that they sign. That's kind of what I see the Turkish league as the saviors of teams which need to sell their players, because any Turkish team has no idea of the player that they want to sign. And I mean, at a certain point we were arguing and seeing and debating whether Karsdorp had to actually be tied at Trigoria because nobody wanted him and nobody who's serious actually wants him. But Turkish teams absolutely love them because you could have the most shittiest player in the world in your team. Trust me, you can make the worst mistakes ever, cost you games after games after games, have a terrible attitude. There's gonna be a Turkish team out there in that league which is gonna buy him. Whether it's Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Besiktas, or Kalawunsi, or Karyaspor, or whatever the other names are, you will find a Turkish team which will get the crap out of your team, and I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like when you've got those broken objects in your house and you bring them to that shop, which breaks them all apart and remakes new objects with the old ones who are broken and nobody would ever buy. Just dump them there. Trust me, that guy's gonna do a miracle out of them. And look, we're not gonna get anything from it, but I'm following the idea that I don't even want money. Like, I don't even want money. Just get him out. Just get him out. Like, I wouldn't even complain if during the Girona deal for Dovbyk, Roma would have gone to Girona and go, look, we've ended Dovbyk. We've agreed on Dovbyk. I'm going to give you, how much do we pay Dovbyk? I'm going to give you 40 million for Dovbyk. But on top of this, you don't need to do anything. Sit down, enjoy your tea. I'm going to give you 40 million. I'm going to give you 45 million. But you sit down. On top of this, I'm going to give you Karsdorp. You don't need to do anything. I'm just going to add it. Like a souvenir. Like a keychain that you buy as a souvenir in a different country. I really hoped that had happened. But then it was always like, does anybody even know where Karsdorp is right now? Like, where is he? He's probably like, I have no idea where he is. I haven't even heard the name Karsdorp or read the name Karsdorp in any article lately. Yeah, I absolutely love this. I love this because after years of nightmares apparently, again, let's hope that these rumors are true. He's almost gone, on the verge of going to Besiktas. He will be playing with Immobile. Oh, Fenerbahce Besiktas. All eyes on the TV. Mourinho and Karsdorp reunite. Karsdorp scores, celebrates in front of Mourinho's face. Yeah, look, hopefully we get it done. Like, send him, ship him away. Like, put him in a cargo ship and ship him out. Yeah, just I've had enough. I've had enough of Karsdorp. I've had enough of Karsdorp, and to actually have Karsdorp leaving is like winning a war. It's like winning. It's like accomplishing your biggest dream. I would love to see us get Valentin Gomez as centre back. The guy is an animal. How much do you think we need to put to bring him back? Ibanez. Well, not less than 25 million. Not less than 20 million for sure. Not less than 20 million. How much did Ali Hal spend on him? Ali Hal, Al Hali, whatever that team is. Ali Hal, Ibanez. Is it Ali Hal? Is it Al? What team did he even join? Ali Hal? No, it's not Ali Hal. Al Hali. Yeah, Al Hali. They spent like what? How much did they spend? Surely they spent like 20 million on him. So yeah, they'll have to sell him for a. But again, it's Saudi. I would get Ibanez back. But a lot of these players which go to Saudi then don't want to come back because, you know, they're kind of covered in gold, that they're like, I accomplished everything I need in life. So yeah, why didn't we go for Hoyson? True, good consideration. But Hoyson with De Rossi was quite terrible. Maybe it's because that Udinese mistake is ringing in my mind right now, but I mean, he's very young. You can't comment on Hoyson right now, but yeah, ultimately, in the last few months, he wasn't amazing. What did we pay for Kumbula? Almost 30 minutes. I'm about to frighten everybody here. Kumbula, I was reading this table on Instagram. Kumbula is like the 4th most expensive signing in the history of this football club. I mean, I want to run away. We spent 26 million plus bonuses on Kumbula. Isn't that crazy? Chiesa will probably go to Lazio. No, absolutely not. Number one, why in what world will Lotito pay his wages? Number two, Chiesa is not accepting us only because he wants a more ambitious team. Why would he snob us, where he would not only find De Rossi and his Italian buddies and Sule and Dybala to go to Lazio? Like, no. If Chiesa leaves, he goes to Milan, Inter. But if Inter Milan don't want, then I can see Chiesa accepting Roma. But Roma's going to be quite skeptical on him. So, yeah. I think we were late with the transfer window. We should have arrived back now at pre-season. Well, yeah, I agree. But you definitely was not expecting Dovbyk and Sule to be here. So I think this kind of delay on the right back is justified by the signing of Dovbyk and the signing of Sule. Because, 3 weeks ago, we wouldn't even have thought they would have become Roma players. Galeno's 40 million, we can't afford it after spending 90 million this window. Well, if it's a smart investment that the Fredkins want to do, then it can happen. And plus, he's not 40 million. He's around 25 million, which is different. But Galeno, I think Juventus are leading the race. Juventus need a winger because Motta needs a natural winger. So Galeno's perfect for them. I saw Chiesa's agent offering him to Milan. Would you swap Tammy for him? Tammy for Chiesa? Wait, Tammy for Chiesa? Yeah, I'd do that. I like Tammy, but I've said it before. Tammy's done in Rome. Tammy's done. Tammy's burned. Tammy needs a new place. So yeah, I would do that. We need to sell someone, but if we sell Tammy, we will have no striker apart from Dovbyk and Shomurodov. Dybala as a false 9. De Rossi wants to do it. So Dybala as a false 9 is going to be the thing. Dovbyk number 1. You've got Shomurodov, who's the kind of third striker. And then in other games, start Dybala as a false nine, Sule behind him and all of that. I think we could do without a new striker. I think we could. I think we could survive a season without a new striker after Dovbyk and Shomurodov. I think right back and left winger and centre back and midfielder are way more important than a new striker if we sell Tammy. I think we can survive a season without a Tammy substitution. You know, if you get me Bellanova and Galeno, then, or Bellanova and Chiesa, but Bellanova and Galeno better, then I will 100% accept that Shomurodov is our second striker, Dovbyk is our first, and then utilise Dybala as a false nine. I will accept that without hands. Like, you could cut my hands, I would accept that. He will join for Zaccagni. That's another reason why he won't join, because Zaccagni is already there. So, or are they going to start together? They play in the same position. Zaccagni is the new captain, got the number 10. Why would Chiesa go there? No, Chiesa won't go to Lazio, don't worry. Right, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. I'm going to go eat. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, that is insane, Chris. 26 million Kumbula is insane. Yeah, hit the like down below if you're watching live or not. Let me know your comments about today's topics. Karsdorp, Badè, and more transfer news. 10 days to go till Roma is back. I cannot wait. And if you cannot wait, subscribe to the channel, buckle up, and hit the like. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care. Good night. And enjoy your summer. Simo out.